Carrying with another movie for you guys, and I know it's been a while since I've done a movie review. I haven't done one since Zootopia, I think, which was in the beginning of this month, and now I'm finally doing one at the end of this month, and it's mainly just been that 1 week in March kind of fucked things up. You guys know that, just I didn't have any time. I wanted to catch up on TV and things like that, and I'm gonna watch more movies, definitely, especially since spring break is next week. I'll probably be able to watch more, but I was definitely really looking forward to this movie. I knew I had to see it in theaters, and I'm also gonna try to see a movie tomorrow. So I was definitely looking forward to this movie. I really, definitely when the first trailer came out, I was really looking forward to it. I think we all were really looking forward to this movie, but I also was very worried because of some of my fears with the trailers that came out. And let me just get into it. That movie is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're all really looking forward to this movie, especially ever since that first trailer came out. Not the Comic-Con one, the first one, the very short teaser trailer that just had that awesome line, do you bleed, you will, that awesome line there. I mean, I think we were all really looking forward to this movie. I couldn't wait to see how it was going to be. But I was worried because of that second trailer. That second trailer really brought down a lot of my hype and a lot of my, and brought in a lot more fears. I was very worried the way this movie would turn out. I didn't know if it was going to be good. The third trailer made me feel a lot more optimistic, but I was still thinking, okay, the second trailer, those things are still in the movie. I was trying to avoid it, but I really know how the movie was going to be, then start getting reviews, and this movie has been getting terrible reviews recently. And how do I feel about Superman: Dawn of Justice? Well, I don't think this movie is in any way perfect. I do think it's a much better movie than people are saying it is. It's not the disaster that you think it is. It is definitely not Fantastic Four. I've heard people say the Fantastic Four is better. No, it is definitely not. This movie's a lot better than everyone's been making it out to be, and I definitely do want to get into that. Now, before I get into this, I do want to say that I have not seen Man of Steel. I own it on Blu-ray. I've never actually gotten a chance to sit down and watch it. I know, terrible thing. I was planning on watching yesterday, but I just didn't get a chance to. So this is coming from someone that hasn't seen Man of Steel, and is going to talk about the movie. But let's get to the plot of Batman v Superman. The reason I say is because the plot is directly connected to Man of Steel. As we know, at the end of Batman v I do know at the end of Man of Steel, Superman got into that huge fight with Zod. He ended up killing Zod and destroying a lot of the city. I mean, a lot of the city buildings fell down and things like that, and Bruce Wayne was actually a big part of this. He was, he was seeing what Superman was doing, and a lot of people he cared about, even though he tried to save some of them died that day, and ever since then, Bruce Wayne has kind of held this grudge against, Superman. He kind of, sees Superman as, some people see him as a god, other people see him as just this figure that won't be able to bring down, and Bruce Wayne finally wants to take him down, and basically he goes after Superman to try to take him down, to see if he really is this god that can't be stopped, and there's other things going on as well, but that's the basic plot of Batman v Superman. I don't want to say a lot because there's a lot that happens in this movie, and I definitely do want to get into that. Let's get to the acting in this movie, because the acting here, for the most part, is really great. I really think everyone did a really great job. Definitely very well cast, and that was one of the things going into this that I was very much like, alright, I think this is going to be good in terms of the acting. I think everyone really was very well casted. Let's talk about the one that I knew everyone was very skeptical about, and that's Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne / Batman, of course. I know when he was first announced, everyone was saying, why Ben Affleck? He's not going to do well here. He was bad in Daredevil. If you guys have seen, you know that Ben Affleck's improved since then, and he was still a good actor. It's just he had a very bad script to work with in that movie. I even heard the extended cut's not that bad. And let me just say this, is Ben Affleck as good as Christian Bale? No, but I don't think that's what they were trying to do. I don't think they were trying to top Christian Bale, because it's kind of hard to do that. I mean, you guys know how much I love the Dark Knight trilogy, and I will admit, I was a bit worried when I saw some things, and I was kind of like, I don't know if this is really going to work. As Bruce Wayne, I think he's really good. He's good as Bruce Wayne. He definitely has the charisma that Bruce Wayne needs, but I don't think he was the best Bruce Wayne. There are still some things I think he needs to work on a little bit with Bruce Wayne, making him a bit more interesting of a character, because in this it just kind of seemed like, oh, he's Bruce Wayne. It didn't really seem like Bruce Wayne had too much of a character here. Like, of course he had a character, but definitely as Batman, he is amazing. I thought he did a great job as Batman. Extremely intimidating, extremely towering figure, and especially since he's challenging Superman, I mean, you really see what he's doing, but then he's also going a bit too far, and a lot of people talk about the aspect of Batman killing in this movie, and how Batman won't kill. I kind of see it as he's going a bit too far. Like, he's going too far. This is really getting to him. But there is really no reason to explain as to why he kills. That's kind of a writing problem. But I think Ben Affleck really did a good job of what he had. I definitely think he's going to bring more as the role goes on. Like I said, Bruce Wayne, he's not the strongest, but he's really good as Batman. I thought he did a really good job, and definitely really great in this movie. Henry Cavill, I know a lot of people have been talking about Henry Cavill and how he's not really great Superman. I think he was really good here. He did a very good job at just representing how good of a person Superman is, how he's just trying to do the right thing, and, you know, people questioning him. He's one of the most interesting parts of this movie because everyone's questioning Superman, if he's a good guy, if he's a bad guy, and he really just wants to do the right thing, and I love seeing that. And I think him as Clark Kent as well, he did a very good job with. He has some good scenes with him and Amy Adams. Very good stuff with Henry Cavill in this movie. Really believe that he was Superman. Really believe that he just wanted to do right. That even though he knew Batman was going after him, he wanted to do right. I definitely like that. Really good stuff there. Amy Adams in this movie, Lois Lane. I know a lot of people said that her and Henry Cavill had no chemistry. Henry Cavill, I mean, however you pronounce it. Her and Henry Cavill had no chemistry in Man of Steel. I thought they were actually really good here. I like some of their scenes here. I like the scenes between Lois Lane and, you know, Clark. I thought they were very good scenes, and especially since she knows his secret, which again, I didn't see Man of Steel, so I didn't know that. I'm like, oh, she knows the secret. That's interesting. It does take away from any necessary drama that, you know, we don't really need in this movie. We don't need this drama where he, you know, is fighting Batman. She doesn't know what's going on. It just wouldn't work for this movie. He needed to tell her who he was for it to work, and I think they did a good job with that. She actually had some very strong scenes in the movie, and they also did a good job at making Lois Lane, you know, the person to kind of bring bring Clark, to, you know, kind of bring Clark down and really make him think, you know, what are you really doing here? They did a good job with that. She was kind of just his love interest, but she was a lot better than I thought she was going to be. I really thought she wasn't going to be necessary here, but I think she did a very good job, and I definitely really enjoyed her. But the person I was most worried about, and I think we were all worried about, was Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Okay, let's talk about this, because Lex Luthor is one of the greatest villains. I mean, he really is great. He's very sophisticated. He's very, you know, stern. He's kind of monotone at points, and this seemed like a completely different Lex Luthor. And I'll say this, I like that they tried to do something different. I just don't really know if it worked. I really didn't. A lot of the times, it was very hard to take him seriously in this movie. I definitely will say that. His introduction especially is very, very cringeworthy. There are some scenes where I really didn't know how to feel about him overall. But I will say, when he had to be menacing, he did a pretty good job. Like, there were times where I'm like, wow, he's actually getting to me, especially in this one scene where they actually set up the official plot of the movie, which I'm not really going to spoil, where they actually, you know, start to set up what's really happening. I thought he did very good job. I definitely thought that he was good in those scenes. There's just a lot of scenes where it was hard to take him seriously, and I didn't like that they tried to make him the jokester. No one in my theater laughed, really, when he was saying things that were supposed to be funny. They really weren't coming across funny. They were coming across as awkward, and I thought I liked they tried to do something different. Like I said, I don't necessarily know if it worked, but the way the movie leaves off on him, I definitely think that he's going to get a lot better as this character in future films, and I can't wait to see what they do with him. Diane Lane, I thought she was great, really, as Clark's mother. She didn't have much to do in this movie, but I thought she was, I mean, yeah, I thought she did a good job overall. Definitely, I thought, you know, like I said, she didn't have a lot to do, but I thought she was really good. Lawrence Fishburne was also really great as Perry, and what I love about Perry is that he's like the one person that doesn't know that Clark Kent and Superman are the same person. So when Clark Kent wants to go after Batman and try to do this article on him, Perry White thinks he's crazy, and they had some very good stuff in them. I thought he did a very good job here. Jeremy Irons, I thought was good as Alfred. I don't think he's as great as everyone's saying, just because I love Michael Caine's Alfred. I know this is more to the comics, but I just love Michael Caine's Alfred. I love that he was a father figure. I love that he tried to look out for Bruce, but here it seemed more like he was just his best friend. Like, it didn't really seem like he was as much a father figure. They felt more like best friends, and I understand that Bruce is supposed to be older here and they're trying to do something different, but I would have at least wanted Alfred to have a one-on-one with Bruce where he says, I think you're going too far, or something like that, and there really wasn't any of that. I thought what Jeremy Irons did, he was good, but he was kind of underused, and I kind of wanted to see more of him. Holly Hunter, I thought was fine in this movie, but again, I thought she was very underused. The one that surprised me the most, without a doubt, though, was Gal Gadot. I mean, no one's seen this actress before. I don't think she's really done anything that big before. She's kind of like Daisy Ridley, where she's done some little things here and there, but no one really knows her, and she really killed it as Wonder Woman. I mean, I can't really see anyone else playing her. She did a great job as Diana Prince and as Wonder Woman. At times, she seemed like she's hiding something a little bit. We don't really know what's going on with her. We know some of the things, but it definitely seems like Wonder Woman's going to answer some questions with her, I think they set up her character very well. I definitely really enjoyed that. There were some scenes with her character that, yes, people have been talking about, and I will get into when we get to spoilers and things like that. But for the most part, I thought she did a great job. I definitely really love what she did in this movie, and I can't wait to see how she does in future installments. So for the most part, I thought the acting was really good. I thought everyone did a really good job there. The directing by Zack Snyder. Here's where we get to my main problem with the movie. The directing and the writing. Those are my main two issues. Is that the tone of this movie is very jumbled at points. I mean, at some points, it seems like this is supposed to be a political thriller that you're supposed to focus 100% on. This is a very he said, she said kind of movie. Because the first act of the movie, that's exactly what it is. It's very much like, oh, Superman's like this, or Superman's like this. And it's actually very interesting, the points that they bring up, definitely. I can understand someone can get very bored in that, but I thought the points they brought up were very strong, and I really enjoyed that. And then the second half, it turns into a full-fledged action movie. It gets really crazy. There's like a hostage subplot going on, things like that, and that was the thing that didn't really work. It felt like they had two different ideas, and they set up this thing, it kind of just goes away, and they don't really go back to it, and I was kind of like, really? You had to end it there? Because the stuff they did in the first act was really interesting. Granted, I will say the second half I thought was more interesting, but I liked the way they set things up. I thought it was good setup, but then the setup goes away and turns into something completely different, and I didn't really love the way that was done. But I thought Zack Snyder did a good job. Like, he understood the story, definitely. Like, he understood what he needed to do for this directing, and I definitely think he was good with that. And especially in emotional scenes, like, you really do feel it, and the action as well, I thought he directed very well. But for the most part, I thought the directing was okay. My main issue, though, is the writing. And I think David S. Goyer and Chris Terrio, they are the ones to blame here for the writing, because there's a lot of writing here that I don't really understand. I really don't. I mean, I think at first there are some scenes that are way too slow, and I do think the movie is a bit too long. I never felt the length, but I did feel like, alright, this is kind of sluggish, especially the first half. You really are feeling like, this is going to be a long one. Like, there's a lot of scenes that I think went on way too long, and there are a lot of scenes that are just there to set up other things. And I understand we need to set up other movies, but the movie didn't really, there are scenes that leave the movie on its own, leave the movie on its own central conflict, and a lot of times they were distracting. The movie was very distracting in terms of, oh, now we need to set this up, and then now we're back to the actual plot, and it was kind of hard to tell really where they were going at points. And the second half, I think, was a lot more cleaner, and especially after Lex Luthor kind of threatened Superman, this one fight happens between the two of them. I mean, I think the writing was very good there. What I really like with the writing is the way that they set up the conflict. I mean, the conflict was very well handled. You understand Superman's view, and you understand Batman's view. To Batman, he doesn't really know Superman. He hasn't seen him one-on-one, so he doesn't really know how he is. What he does know is that everyone thinks he's like this god, and he wants to show that he's not really that and bring him to justice, while Superman is just trying to do the right thing, and he knows that Batman's going after him, and obviously he's very worried, and I thought they handled that conflict really, really well, and I really did enjoy that. So really good stuff between those two, I definitely will say that. And there's some really amazing emotional scenes. I mean, there is this one fight where Superman just brings up this one thing that really has nothing to do with Batman, but they did it very well, and I really did enjoy that. I don't really love the way they handled the whole, Bruce's parents dying. I think they did that way, the first, 4 minutes is us seeing Bruce's parents be murdered and everything, and I thought it was well handled, but just the way it was done in Batman Begins, I thought was a lot better. And I'm not going to continue to, refer to the Christopher Nolan trilogy, but I will say there are things that movie understood a lot more about the character of Batman that this movie didn't, especially with Batman's morality, because a big part of Batman is that he doesn't kill. And of course, we know from the trailer, there's that thing where we see haha jokes on you from the Joker, where he supposedly killed supposedly killed Robin, and that's not in this movie. There's nothing with that in this movie. And I don't know if we're going to see that in Suicide Squad, but that's not in this movie for whatever reason. I was very surprised, because that was one of the big parts, that was one of the big things that everyone was talking about in that first trailer. It's not even in this movie. Very strange. I don't know why it's not here, but for whatever reason, it's not here. So if you guys are looking for, the haha jokes on you thing, it's not here. They don't explain why Batman is killing. They don't, explain that. My dad did bring up a good point, because I saw this with my dad, and he said to me that, Batman's supposed to be, he's supposed to have machine guns and things like that, and, kind of do that sort of thing, but that's just not the Batman that we're used to. It's a different kind of Batman. I think it's going to make sense as the movies go on, but right now, it did take some getting used to, but I do think they did a good job with it, and showing, in sticking with that. They didn't try to change something midway through and be like, oh, this isn't working. They did, in fact, stick to it. They showed that Batman is someone that when he understands something, he's not just going to kill you, but if he needs to kill you, he's going to kill you. And I think that's very good. I thought they handled that really well, and I definitely really did enjoy that. And like I said, the emotional confrontations between these two, I think, are the best scenes in the movie without a doubt. Rather than, some of the bigger scenes, I think the best scenes are literally when these two are just in a room talking to each other. The fact that this is actually happening, the fact that we're actually seeing Batman and Superman face to face, ready to just beat the shit out of each other. They're incredible scenes. They did a great job of that, and I really did enjoy the way that that was done. The cinematography here obviously is incredible. Every shot looks amazing. This is one of those movies, watch it with the sound off. It looks amazing. I love the way cinematography was done. Really incredible stuff, and the cinematography, without a doubt, I mean, definitely should be commended. They did a great job of that, and I'm not surprised. I mean, I knew it was going to look good, and even Doomsday looked good. Like, Doomsday did not look bad. Of course, you guys know from the trailer that Doomsday does eventually pop up here, but I thought they did a good job with that. Let me talk about that second trailer, because a lot of people are saying that you miss, like, you'll know what happens in most of the movie if you've seen the second trailer. I'll say about 85% of the movie. There's a big, I'd say 20% that you don't know, and I was very happy that I didn't know. I tried to stay away from spoilers as much as possible. I tried to go in not knowing anything, except for what those trailers told me, and I'm happy that I did that, because there were some really good spoilers I will get into. The score was fine. I don't really have too much to say about the score. It was typical Hans Zimmer. It wasn't anything amazing. It wasn't like the Dark Knight score or anything like that, but I did think it was a very good score. I definitely enjoyed it. It did echo some of, like, the Dark Knight and things like that, but you did really feel the tragedy. Like, it really did add in terms of the tragic tone and things like that. I think they did a good job with that. Sometimes it was a bit too much. Like, in some scenes, I'm like, all right, I get it. You're supposed to be an emotional scene. But some scenes, it works really, really well, and I definitely really appreciate that. The editing here, like I said, I think the editing was very choppy in the first half, but a lot better in the second half. Like, the first hour of this movie is very choppy, and you guys will notice that, and I noticed that as well. I feel like there was a lot of stuff that they might have taken out, or there might have been some things where there could have been more to something, and they didn't do that. But the second half, I thought, was very well paced, and I definitely really did enjoy that. Like I said, I really think this movie in two halves, even though I know movies have three acts, I really think the movie in two acts, and I'll talk about how I think about that when we get into spoilers. The action here is amazing. I could not get over the action scenes, though. If there's anything I can commend this movie on, it is the fight scenes. The fight scenes are perfection. Honestly, I have no complaints about the fight scenes, and they're all really look like, they're really suspenseful. And, you see Superman, he gets his ass kicks, and Batman gets his ass kicked as well. They both get really badly hurt, and I really like that. No one is really dominating the other one. You really do see that. And yeah, there's some scenes where Superman's dominating Batman, but you really do see that neither one of them is invincible, and both of them are going to take some blows to the head, and I definitely like the way that was done. Really good stuff, and I definitely love the way that they set all that up. With that said, though, let's get into the spoilers. I know you guys want me to talk about, there's a lot to get through, definitely. Really, there's a lot to get through here, and if you guys have not seen Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, do not watch Justice Review, and I know probably you're thinking, oh, the trailer said most of it. There are actually a lot of things the trailer did not, spoil that I'm happy about, because it made for a much more enjoyable movie. So let me just get into it. Okay, so I want to talk about what I mean by the first two acts, because like I said, I do think this movie is kind of like two acts rather than three acts. I'll say that the first act, I think, is everything with the Senator questioning Superman, and him on, basically Superman being judged by the public and how everyone looks at him, and him kind of setting up things, like him sending those things to Batman, which, that was crazy. The way they were kind of silently threatening each other, but not face to face, I thought was really cool. The way that buildup was done, I definitely really appreciated that. Definitely really good. And it showed that these two, while they're not directly fighting, they are fighting. And it's kind of like a Cold War almost. Like, I really love the way that was handled. But then I think the ending of the first act is after the trial, when the building is blown up and Senator Finch dies. Then I think the second act of the movie starts, and that's when the movie really got great for me. Once Lex revealed to Superman that if you kill Batman, your mother will live, that made things a lot more interesting, because that is when Superman and Batman really start to understand each other more. I really love the way that was done, and that was fantastic. And I'm really like, why couldn't we have just gotten to that? Like, I understand we need all this build-up, but there was a lot of stuff that I really feel we didn't need. We had all these scenes with Lex Luthor that I really can't really tell you what's going on. I know it involved Jolly Ranchers and him acting like the Joker, which, if I had to categorize that part of Lex Luthor, I'd count it as the Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark Lex Luthor. If you guys remember Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, that musical with, like, the Green Goblin, it was a very over-the-top, very flamboyant, very just, like, cartoony Green Goblin. That's very much how Lex Luthor is in this movie at points, and that's really my biggest problem with him. I think he's gonna get a lot better now that he had his head shaved. I was like, thank God. Like, when they shaved his head at the end of the movie, I was like, thank God they did that. I was very happy about that. I definitely love the way that was done. Let's talk about the Diana Prince aspect, because a lot of people have been talking about it. I think they handled her stuff really well. Like, Bruce could tell that she was hiding something. She just wasn't telling him. And when he found out that she was Wonder Woman, fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. I am not okay with him sending her all of these files for each one of the Justice League. That is exactly show, not tell. Okay, I understand he showed things, but that is literally an orgy of evidence. I mean, if you guys don't know what that means, it's when you have all this evidence and no one is saying directly what's going on, and, like, you see things, they shove it in your face. I mean, that's basically saying, hey, there's gonna be a Justice League movie, here you go, here's Flash, here's all this stuff, and it's like, I don't need to see that stuff. I can hear about it, but I didn't need to see it, and I do think some of that was kind of, done way overdone, definitely, I will definitely say that. But I will definitely say, the thing that I really loved was the ending, because I really thought that Doomsday was gonna be completely unnecessary, but no, they made Doomsday a lot more important than I thought they would, with him being the thing that brings Superman down, because at this point, it doesn't seem like anything can bring him down. Batman's tried to kick his ass, that's not working. Lex has tried to bring him down, that's not working. Doomsday is the thing that's going to bring Superman down, and I love the way this was done, and the way that they had to come together as a team. You understand that Batman doesn't really want to help Superman. It's not really that he wants to save him. What he does want to do is make the city better, because the city's very corrupted, as you know, and things are really bad, and Batman wants to clean things up, and I love the way that was done. And the way that Wonder Woman saved them, yeah, it doesn't exactly make sense how she got in there, but whatever. I thought it was really cool that the fight in general, I was riveted. I'm going to tell you guys that right now. I was riveted. I was glued to my seat. I love the way that was done. An amazing fight scene, and the way that Superman ended up sacrificing himself, you can understand he didn't want to have to do it, but he had to do because something had to bring him down, and that was the thing that brought him down. Amazing stuff. I love the way that was done, and the ending with Lois Lane, I mean, just perfect stuff. Definitely, I really enjoyed that. And the ending as well, I thought was really great. The way it ends with Bruce and Diana, basically they're going to go to try to find the rest of the Justice League, even though they don't necessarily want to be found. They're going to try to start it up, and that's what the movie should have been. We didn't need that whole scene of Bruce sending her all these files. We could have just had that scene, and I would have been fine with that. It doesn't really change the movie had that scene not been in there. I really don't think it does that much. And some people say, oh, it does change the movie, but I really don't think it did. I think it pretty much stood out on its own with that scene. I definitely really did enjoy that. And then the ending, we know, of course, Superman's just not going to die. They're not going to kill him off, so obviously we need to see him again. And I love the way that was done. And if I had to pick a favorite scene from the movie, I'll definitely say, without a doubt, my favorite scene from the movie, besides the Doomsday fight, which that was just all kinds of awesome, mainly because we got to see Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman fight as a team. I love seeing that. That was really cool. But also the fact that Doomsday was so powerful. I mean, Superman, you could see, he was, for a while, really getting his, kicking Doomsday's ass, but Doomsday is powerful, and the only way to kill him was Kryptonite, and I thought they handled that really well, showing that Kryptonite is Superman's main threat, and I love that. But my favorite scene, without a doubt, was, of course, the confrontation between Batman and Superman, when Superman basically says Martha, and Batman learns that Superman's name is Martha as well. Really good scene. I definitely really love that. Really great stuff there. But overall, guys, Man v Superman: Dawn of Justice, not a perfect movie by any means. I definitely really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought it was going to. I think it's a lot better than critics have been saying, and if I had to grade Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, I am going to give it a 4 out of 5 or a B+. I definitely really did enjoy this movie. I think the second half is really great. The first half was very choppy, but I definitely recommend you see it. It definitely is a movie that, it definitely sets up a lot of things, but I do think it sets up some really good stuff for future installments, especially Wonder Woman. I can't wait to see how Wonder Woman's going to be. I think Gal Gadot really surprised all of us in this movie. I definitely think you definitely should check it out. It's one of those movies where don't listen to the critics, see it for yourself, see how you like it. That's really what I'd say. So overall, guys, in my review, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, let me know if you guys saw this movie. You have seen it, love to hear your thoughts on it. I can't wait for Suicide Squad. Honestly, I can't wait for it. And I do think that Suicide Squad, it's a good idea to have that at the same time as Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, because it will fill in some gaps from some things from this movie, because there are plot holes, but I'm not going to complain, because I do think they're going to solve some of them in the coming films, and I can't wait to see how they do that. I know if you guys saw this movie. We'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for Daredevil, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.